Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Friday, September the 6th. We do have the full 15 today. We got 15 games, 15 game main slate. We're going to start off with pitching and work our way through the pitcher player pool. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitchers that I like for today, the pitchers I'm going to be targeting. Then we'll look at three specific hitters that I'll be going to, and towards the end of the video, we will cover some stacks that I like for tonight's slate. Before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. Starting off at the top of the pitcher player pool, we got Lucas Giolito as the most expensive option on DraftKings in a matchup against the Angels. On Yahoo, our most expensive pitcher is Clayton Kershaw, actually. He's at $54, and Giolito's at $51. So just talking about the studs pitchers, the guys 10K and above. On DraftKings, we have 6 of them. And just given the pricing, I don't think you need to pay up for any of these guys. Giolito's in a tough spot against the Angels, and he's also very expensive at $12,100. Kershaw, I like his matchup here against the Giants, but he's very expensive on DraftKings at nearly $12K, $11,900. This feels like a slate where I want to pay up for some bats, and it's going to be hard to do that if you play Kershaw. And there's no like cheap 5K, 4K pitcher that you feel good about that you can pair with Kershaw. So I don't feel like I'm going to be really paying up for Kershaw. Corbin's in a tough spot against the Braves. Robbie Ray doesn't have the best matchup against Cincinnati, and he's really expensive. Lamette's in a good matchup, but for $10,300, don't feel like I need to pay that price tag for him. And then Michael Pineda at $10K against the Indians, I feel like I can get away from as well. On Yahoo, I think it's a bit of a different story because of how cheap their pitcher pricing is. Paying up for Clayton Kershaw, I think, makes plenty of sense on Yahoo at $54. He's probably going to be very popular. It's going to be pretty easy to get him in. So if you want to go to Kershaw at $54, I could see doing that. But I do like going to Lamet on Yahoo. Lamet is someone that's very, very underpriced, in my opinion, at just $38. It is a very favorable matchup for him, like I said. Pitching at home against the Rockies. Anytime you get the Rockies outside of Coors Field, they are definitely a team you can target. You can target with opposing pitchers, especially a good pitcher like Lamet, who has a lot of strikeout upside. It's a Rockies lineup that has strikeouts in it. It's a good pitcher's park as well. Low total for the Rockies as well. 3.9 implied run total right now as I'm recording this video. So I like Lamet quite a bit at $38. For him to be a good play at this Yahoo salary, you really only need him to get about 20, 25 fantasy points, which he can easily do given Yahoo scoring. So I'm going to be going to a lot of Lamet on Yahoo. I think going Kershaw Lamet makes a ton of sense, but we'll talk about another guy that I like right around Lamet's price tag that you can pair with him and then get in a lot of expensive bats. On DraftKings, though, I don't really feel like I need to pay up for any of these guys. All of them kind of feel just a tad bit overpriced, and I do want to try and get some expensive bats in. So we're going to look to this mid-range. One guy I love in this mid-range, it feels weird to say, but Homer Bailey at $8,500, I like a lot here against the Tigers. He's a guy that I'm going to be playing quite a bit of on Yahoo as well. He's at $39. He's pretty expensive. I don't think he's going to be that popular because of his price tag and the fact that a lot of people will most likely be paying up for Kershaw. But I think going Lamet Bailey on Yahoo makes a ton of sense. Still leaves you $15 remaining per player. So you can definitely get in some good expensive bats with those two pitchers. Bailey, though, as an SP1 on DraftKings, I like a ton. Great matchup against the Tigers. Tigers team that has a ton of strikeouts in its lineup versus right-handed pitching. They got a low total, 3.6 implied run total. It's a great pitcher's park. Bailey's a heavy favorite at minus 221. And Bailey's actually been a pretty decent pitcher this year. I've stacked against him a lot, especially as of late because he's had some tough matchups. Like when he faced the Yankees, I did stack against him, and it really didn't go that well. He only gave up 2 runs. He did give up 2 home runs. He still got 23 DraftKings points, though. I think I stacked against him a small amount when he pitched against the Yankees at home, and he was pretty good in that start as well. Bailey's he's been good lately. He's really all that needs to be said, and now he gets a great matchup at home against a bad Tigers team. So even though he's expensive at $8,500 and that might feel like a bit of an overpay, I think Bailey's worth the price tag here, given the matchup with the Tigers. Just such a bad lineup, so many strikeouts in that Tigers lineup. Then for a cheap SP2 on DraftKings, a guy that I like a lot for a value pitcher is Pablo Lopez. He's only $6,300. He gets a home matchup with the Royals. Very favorable matchup. This is a Royals team that does have strikeouts in its lineup versus right-handed pitching, especially when you get towards the bottom. There's some Ks down there at the bottom of the Royals lineup. It's a really good ballpark for pitchers as well, pitching in Miami, one of the more favorable pitchers' parks. We're seeing low totals on both sides of this game. Pablo Lopez for the Marlins, Jorge Lopez going for the Royals. I think both of these pitchers are playable if you need a cheap pitcher. I do prefer Lopez because I think he gives you, or Pablo Lopez, I guess, because he gives you more strikeout upside. But honestly, if you wanted to go to Jorge Lopez as a cheap option against the Marlins, I could see it. But Pablo Lopez I do like here. Does have a little bit of K potential. It is a lineup that has Ks in it. When you get towards the bottom, you have the pitcher spot in there. It's the National League, so the Royals are going to lose their DH. I do like Pablo Lopez quite a bit as a cheap option at SP2 on DraftKings. But that's kind of it for my core pitchers. Talking about some other guys I might get some exposure to. In this mid-range, I think someone like Brendan McKay at home against the Blue Jays makes some sense. He's only 7,800. It does feel a little bit too cheap for the matchup. Dylan Bundy against the Rangers I think makes a lot of sense. Bundy's been pretty good lately. It is a Rangers team that does strike out versus right-handed pitching. So Bundy is someone you could look to. You got Framber Valdez for 6,900 against the Mariners. He's a cheap option you could potentially look to. The Mariners versus left-handed pitching are definitely a team I like to pick on with opposing pitchers. But other than those guys, I don't know if there's really any cheap options besides Jorge Lopez as a cheap play. Jorge Lopez, 5,300 against the Marlins in Marlins Park. Could be a value pitcher you look to. But let's go ahead and talk about some hitters on today's slate. So one team I do like quite a bit is the Yankees here. It's going to be Julio Chacin opening this game, and then Andrew Cashner. Looks like it's going to be Cashner as a long man. So it's going to be a combo of Chacin and Cashner going for the Red Sox. I think that makes for a great spot for the Yankees bats. Cashner just this year has given up a lot of power to right-handed hitters. He's been much better versus lefties, struggled a lot with righties, and this Yankees lineup, especially it looks like they're going to have Encarnacion back. They have Luke Voit back now. This is a really dangerous lineup, 1 through 7. Great hitters. Brett Gardner's not an easy out. Tauchman's had a great year. Just a really tough spot for this Red Sox pitching staff. So I like going to the Yankees bats. I love Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres, two of my favorite plays from this Yankees lineup. Gleyber's 4,800 on DraftKings, which feels way too cheap. Aaron Judge starting to heat up, is up to 5,300, but I think given the matchup with Cashner, he's worth the price tag. I like both of those guys on Yahoo as well. Gleyber's at 21 at second base. Judge is at 20, or Gleyber's at 20 at second base, and Judge is at 21. Those are two guys I'm going to be going to on Yahoo as well. And the Yankees, just as a stack, are going to be a stack that I go pretty heavy on today here versus Cashner. I think I did stack against the Yankees last time they faced Cashner, and he actually, like Cashner, pitched really well. But I'm going to be going right back to these Yankees bats. I think they're in a great spot. Cashner, always a pitcher I look to stack against, just don't think he's that good. He did move to the bullpen because he was really struggling with the Red Sox. He's been better since he moved to the bullpen, but this is just not a good matchup for him against this Yankees team that doesn't strike out much, has a ton of power. Really like going to some of these Yankees bats today, and Gleyber and Aaron Judge are two of my favorite plays from that Yankees lineup. Then another team I think that is in play is the Twins. And I do like Eddie Rosario quite a bit here at 4,600 against Adam Plutko. So Plutko, this guy does give up some power to lefties. That's something he has struggled with this year, is home run to left-handed hitters. And the Twins have a lot of that, or have a lot of power from the left side. Kepler, Polanco, Eddie Rosario, Arias has a little bit of power. Castro and Cave have actually shown some power this year. So I think this is a really good spot for these Twins bats. Rosario, one of the better power hitters in that lineup, and he's not priced like it at 4,600. Twins do have a 6 implied run total, which is towards the top of the slate. Honestly, think it might lead the slate. Twins at 6 runs might be the highest. Actually, the Astros have 6.5 implied run total, and I think the Twins are behind them at 6. So the Twins are definitely a team I'm going to be looking to get to. Pluto's a guy that I've actually played some this year, but this is just not a spot where I expect him to have much success, having to go into Minnesota and face this really dangerous Twins team. So I like Rosario a lot on DraftKings. And then to fill out my 5 on Yahoo, at third base, there's a guy that I think is way underpriced here. Manny Machado, only $12 on Yahoo. Great cash game play if you're stacking the Padres, which I think makes some sense here against Tim Melville. Machado's obviously going to be a core part of that stack on Yahoo. Right now we got a 5.2 implied run total for the Padres here against Melville. Melville, not a pitcher that I really believe in. I've watched some of his starts this year. I did watch when he pitched against the Braves. he was just kind of getting lucky. Like he was leaving a lot of pitches down the middle, and the Braves were just kind of missing on him. I don't expect him to have much success here against this Padres team. Padres do have some strikeouts in their lineup versus right-handed pitching, but they still do have a lot of dangerous hitters. Machado and Renfroe both have a ton of power. Naylor, Garcia, and Eric Hosmer are all batting left-handed, so they'll have the platoon advantage, and they're not guys that really strike out. France, Margot, and Hedges aren't great hitters, and probably are going to strike out a couple times against Melville, but the 1 through 5 I think makes plenty of sense from the Padres. I'm more interested in like a 2-man stack or a 3-man stack rather than the full 5. So like Machado, Hosmer 2-man, or Machado, Renfroe 2-man I think makes a lot of sense. If you want to go to a 5-man stack, you can, but I do prefer a mini stack here, and Manny Machado going to be one of the core plays I like, especially on Yahoo where he's just $12. Feels way too cheap for this matchup with Melville. Melville just an average pitcher at best, probably below average if you ask me. But yeah, that's it for my 5 plays for DraftKings and for Yahoo today, guys. Now talking about some stacks that I like before we end the video. So my favorite stack is going to be the Yankees. They're a team I'm going to be playing a ton of here against Andrew Cashner and Chassin. Really like these Yankees bats. 5.3 total is not anywhere towards the highest on the slate, so I don't think the Yankees are going to be that popular, just given the fact their total is lower than some of the other teams. But if you're looking for other teams to potentially consider for stacks, definitely go to the Twins bats here against Pluto. The Twins are going to be a team I look to get some exposure to. I'll probably have some Cubs stacks against Zach Davies because I just don't think Zach Davies is very good. It's a great hitter's park in Miller Park. Cubs do have a pretty dangerous lineup. 1 through 6, 1 through 7 is pretty dangerous. All guys have a little bit of power. Zobrist doesn't have much power, but Castellanos, Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber, Contreras all have some power, and Davies definitely will give up some home runs, especially in that ballpark. Then you have like the Astros against Tommy Malone, who you could consider 6.5 implied run total, highest on the slate right now. Going to be hard to get Astros bats in there because they are very expensive, but Diaz batting 6th, Aledmys Diaz is only $3,900. Could be a cheap option. Kyle Tucker looks like he's going to be batting 7th, and he's not in the player pool. But Chirinos is a cheap catcher you could look to. It's just hard to get like the full 5 men of the Astros because they're so expensive, unless you're like paying down for both pitchers, which I don't think I'm going to be doing much today. Probably going to be getting like a mid-tier guy and then a cheap guy rather than going to 2 cheap options. But yeah, I think that's it for stacks today, guys, and I think that is it for this full 15-game slate. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like down below. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you have any questions, feel free to leave any questions, any comments down below in the comment section. Like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. Feel free to message me on Twitter. If you have any questions, I'll be replying to tweets. I'm active on Twitter all the time, replying to your tweets, replying to your DMs. Feel free to message me there. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck tonight on this 15-game slate. Peace.